One of my colleagues said, all right, Dr. Reese, so what's the big truth behind global warming? And I said in one word, and I fervently believe this, it's change, ... opportunity in disguise. And this is when human beings and great corporate leaders and individuals start to use what's between our brains. And the good news is that we're very stuck into this now. In California, we have a law by 2020 that emissions will, like it or not, drop 20% below 1990 levels. In the European Union, that will be 25%. Now, proactive companies, and make no mistake, big companies, little companies, and medium companies will all change. And yes, change will cost us a little, and it's better that people get with the program now because they will be forced to change. We believe now that it will be a flat tax, and if you're a polluter, you're going to pay the piper. But a lot of companies have seen this, and a lot of companies, I get very heartened. I am a capitalist. I believe in capital markets, and I believe that companies and good leadership is right at the fore. If you take, for instance, old DuPont, you might think, DuPont, don't they make chemicals? Aren't they on the bad side, et cetera, et cetera? Rubbish. They have dropped their CO2 emissions 72% below 1990 levels. A lot of other companies have followed suit. I can go from Hong Kong, Shanghai Bank, HSBC, the mighty banking empire. Already, they're sourcing 35% of their energy from wind. The biggest chip maker in the world, Intel, is the biggest single consumer of wind in New Mexico and in the state of Oregon. We go to Starbucks. 20% of their energy is coming from wind, sun, and geothermal energy. We go to the biggest carpet maker in the world, Ray Anderson's Interface, carpet manufacturer. He is an unbelievable champion. They have lowered their emissions 60% below 1990 levels, but they're not just shooting for 60. 2020 is a big year because in 2020, he will, and many other companies will have achieved what we call zero emissions. See, people have identified the problem, and I think for every problem there are at least 3 solutions, and companies are putting their mouths and their brain power and their pocketbook into sorting this out. We don't hear too much of it, but I can assure you that when you get the likes of General Electric that sees Vespa the biggest wind power, and I didn't mention wind, but I will in a moment. Wind is a wonderful source of energy. Vespa, a Lapland company, is the biggest windmill maker. But General Electric, the big behemoth, they want not only in the wind industry, they are in the wind industry, they want to lead, and they are breathing down this other company's back. That's great. See, now we're into a competition to get new energy sources that will fix it. The technologies are here, and they're made in Canada solutions. Earlier this year, I was on the East Coast and in the Maritimes. They've already got a handful of companies that manufacture windmills and export it. We see that Norway sources up to 20–25% of its power from wind. They're gunning to increase that up to 50% of their energy in the next couple years. We saw the first offshore wind farm in Nantucket earlier this year. As far as I'm concerned, the race is on. Is it going to be the Maritimes or British Columbia? British Columbia and Canada has the longest coastline in the world. We need to get stuck into this technology, and we are getting stuck into the technology. In the last 18 months in North America alone, $12 billion has funneled into the United States in wind alone. Now, what we talk about in resource management is there one silver bullet panacea that's going to fix everything? No. We've got to apply different things. Like in resource management, some things work on some forms of land, and others we have to use different systems. But I definitely want wind on my belt because we're going to see a lot more wind. And yes, there's some drawbacks for some bird population and bat populations. However, we got to move beyond fossil fuels. And we are moving beyond fossil fuels. I'll leave you with one last point. I just came from Saskatchewan. They're already sourcing 5% of the province's energy from wind. They're shooting in the next couple of years to treble that to 15% in wind alone.